Alrighty, so today I'm going to talk about a very special thing, which is the Google Meet companion mode. And let's straight over get to this and just see the effect and how does that look. So I was seeing the Google Workspace updates, and one of them just caught my eye, which was this Google Workspace Meet update. And as you can see here, if I usually have this join now as my primary button, but this is more purpose driven. Whenever we are like having the companion mode as something that we want to make primary, something that we have already detected, and we see that there is a meeting room and there are multiple people who are joined, so we can actually handle the echoes there. And here it just makes the primary button for join now as a tertiary or secondary, and now we have the meet room detected as with these sparkles and outline and so on. And this is like a really cool stunning effect that happens, and it just changes to use companion mode. So we will just see it frame by frame first. I think the first thing that it does is this frame that it creates this kind of a gradient. I believe that this is more like an artifact. It should like be consistent gradient all around from the start, which I have implemented. And also that now this slowly turns into this, which is like our beloved gradient effect that I really liked. And we would be taking a look at how to make this, like how can we do this using HTML, CSS, and a bit of JavaScript. I believe it's not actually using JavaScript. We can just totally omit any JavaScript and directly go to the HTML and CSS, and that would also do the whole thing. So yeah. Also, before I start off, it is something that has been done by Justin Bose. So just a shout out there that I saw this initially from here, that how they have made this join now to convert into this meet room detected. It's much faster here. The one that we will be making would be a bit slow, just so because it is for education purpose. We want to see the animation happen, and we can always change the duration of those things. And yeah, this is the site. I will link all of them to the video. Let's straight over get started with this. So I will just reload the code pen, and we can see this. Hey, this lovely animation would start to appear. And we have this use companion mode, meeting room, and it just changes to this, and we have this use companion mode. We will just take a look at it again. Maybe I will just reload it by changing here. So it by default stays as use companion as a text mode. It changes to the meeting room, has this effect, changes to the text, and we are done. So let's see like how does that happen and how does this take into effect. So we have something like is detected is equal to true. This is like the only JavaScript part. We are just removing a class of like which says that's not detected. If it is like not detected, which means that if we never remove this class, let's just say that if it never detected that there was a meeting room, anything like that, then it will just stay in this text form, which is like the secondary or the text variant of the button that we always see. And we have a CSS here. Actually, let's not worry about CSS. We will see it like line by line. But this one is just basically just changing the background transparent, not having any box shadow and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we already understand the purpose of JavaScript here. We can just straight away close it, and let's take a look at HTML and CSS. I will also just remove the CSS for now, like the whole thing, so that we can just see like what does the HTML looks like. So the HTML is a button. We have a button element, and we have a bunch of SVGs. We have this right and left sparkles or decorations. We have this taken from the font.google.com/icons. This is the meeting room icon, as well as we have this use companion mode as a text. So this is the basic markup that we have here. One thing to notice is that the SVG color is current color, so that it can just take the context color, like it will change to blue text whenever we have that text form that you saw, and whenever we have this button with a background and white text, then it will the icon will just become white. So this is why I've used current color here. But yeah, let's just uncomment all of the things that we have here. So from here to here, I'm just going to uncomment this, and maybe we want a asterisk here or the universal selector here, so that we can have our effect. And now let's try to understand how each of these things are, what do they do. Like we have margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. That's just basic CSS. So we don't we can just do our own box sizing, and we can have them to set to border box, as well as not have any padding or margins, which we will set ourselves. And the next body is to just have them centered. So these are like just basic flows, as well as we have just two colors. We are just playing with two colors here. One is the primary color, which is like this blue color, and the second is the more purplish accent color that we are also using, and we have picked colors from OKLCS so that we can have this wider gamut P3 colors, which I really love. So we can pick colors from here. It also comes with a fallback. Maybe the YouTube recording will not show the difference, but this is like more vibrant, more hot pink color that kind of like Apple gave the idea like OKLCS colors are like much better, and the kind of colors that Apple have in their images, why they look so vibrant, and I just love to have these OKLCS colors. But yeah, so we know about this, and we know about that this is the effect that we are trying to make here. And now let's take a look at like how each of the button, what do they do, how do they look. So we have the first button, position is relative, so that all the SVGs can just stay absolute to it, and we can position them. The color is white, we are making it flex so that the icon and the text are like side by side. Some font sizing and all, and border radius, I was just trying to be fancy here to multiply by infinity, which we can use, or we could have just added a large number and that would have also given us the border radius that we wanted. And this is the very interesting part, like I will explain it a bit. Like box shadow inside would mean that the box shadow is inside, and we have this X offset, Y offset, then a blur and a spread, and then we have the color. And same likewise we have this from the negative X and negative Y as well, so that we have these two, and these two fill out with the colors that we want, and we have the blur and the spread as well. So this is how we have the box shadow effect. So we understand this button. This is like if I were to remove everything other than this button, you may see the SVGs too, but yeah, you will understand that this button is the whole thing, that how we have this button as a primary, and this is like giving the whole style. The next thing that we have is the decoration, the ones that you see in the left and right. We are positioning it absolute, scaling it a bit less because you saw that they were too big, and just the opacity is 0. And the left one is on the left side, so the left is 0, or the inset inline start as a logical property is 0, and we are just transforming origin it to more left, and we will just use translate later in the later phases to animate it as well. And similarly for the right one, we are doing the same thing. So we understand the decorations, we understand like how the button looks like, and let's keep going, let's not stop. So we have this not detected. It says that if you have not detected through your ultrasonic or whatever to see that if you want to use companion mode, then we just don't want the background, we don't worry about the box shadow, and we just want the color to be the primary color. So that was the like initial phase. We do not launch our load state and all the animations that we have in those state. But yeah, when it is not selected, which means that the button has this class lifted up from the JavaScript that we have already seen. So if that just removes it, then we would be playing with our and let's just make the CSS a bit bigger here. Then we'll be playing with our animation, which is the most exciting part for me. Like the animation has a state load 1.5 second ease, and I will just take a look at like what does this animation do. This animation just says, yeah, just scale me from a 0.6 to 1. So in itself, this is like not a very like tough animation to like know like what does it do or something like that. So if we were to remove everything else like before, after, and all of those animation, and just see the load state load, so it is just like making this, and that's okay. Like we understand that this is one of the part of what we want to do, and this is one of the initial part of like how the companion mode button would look and would work or function in terms of its motion design. The next thing is its after. So we are making two pseudo elements, before and after. The after one is adding the meeting room detected, something that you see for a fraction of second, and then a background to it. We have just adjusted it right so that it is on top of it, same fancy border radius thing. And we have an animation like move the text a bit to the right. So we have a keyframe here that is moving it a bit to the right, and let's just see it in action. What does it do? So here we have the text, it does the scaling, and it does this text movement to the right, and it just goes away to opacity 0. So that's what's happening there. The next thing that we have is we also have a before that you already saw. We have this before to make the border that is on around it for some time, and that border just goes away. Border has that fancy border thing. It has a bit of a translucent color, and it has a scale up animation. So let's take a look at the scale up, and we already know what that after text was, and we can just close this before as well, and let's just see what the before scale up does. Before scale up is nothing but just says that yeah, just scale up my X and Y so that the border can just move a bit, and then just opacity could be 0. So you are just also playing with the opacity and making it transparent as you're moving it out. So let's just see how does that look like. It goes away, it moves up, and it goes away, and that is like how the scale up works. So we know the move text, the text movement, we know the scalar, how the border moves, and now the last part I believe is decoration. So we have two decorations, one in the left, one on the right. We are adding a move out left, a move out right to each of them just for simplicity, and the opacity is 0.1. So for certain time we do see them a bit translucent. We will just take a look at how does that look like, but let's just first see the keyframe or the animations. We already know this. Zoom in, and yeah, here. So we say that firstly the opacity should be 0, and 50% just make the opacity 0.9 or just enough visible that we see it, and for 100% opacity should again be 0, and we are all the way from 0 to 100 translating it to -15 on the x side, which means the left would go more left. Similarly the right would have the same things, but the right would go a bit more right. We could have reused it, used something like a function in CSS or something like some bleeding edge technology, but I wanted it to support like 5-year-old browsers as well and use something that is like not too new. At the same time, if I'm using something new like OKLCH color, those also come with fallbacks in hex and so on. So those are also something that is totally cross browser and old browser compatible. So yeah, the final effect, it zooms up, does not do that bad gradient thing, and does this text animation. Let's take a look again. It was just too fast, but yeah, I have already very much slowed it, but yeah, this is the effect. Does that text change? Looks really cool, really awesome. So yeah, with that we have come to the end. I was really excited about this. I actually have a very great meeting or interview. I should not have been doing this, but rather preparing for that, but I couldn't keep my hands off it. I just really loved the animation and the whole thing that this was doing, and I just wanted to explore it myself and just see that this whole thing and how could I just make it to life using HTML, CSS, and JS. So yeah, peace out, and I hope that you enjoyed watching it and hope that you learned something from it. See ya, bye.